Trustees regular meeting Monday, May 4th at 7:30 to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Adoption of agenda.
I believe we need to add under unfinished business, approval of dispatcher hire for the fire department. I forgot about it.
Any other additions or deletions?
I was told earlier by the DPW to remove the DPW water service request, and it'll be brought back if needed.
Under new business, Mr. Safe, do we have to have that on the agenda this evening regarding the road? I know Jody sent an email out too, but do you want something on the agenda regarding that from Mr. Hopner?
Good evening. The road commission is waiting on us to give direction. If we are planned for next year's budget, then we need to notify them within 30 days. And if we don't, or this board don't take action this meeting, then there's no time. Next meeting will be too late.
Okay. I believe time is an issue with us right now where we don't have enough time to accomplish this.
Yeah, but we don't have enough time to accomplish it in the short span because we are not shovel ready even close on this. So maybe this year it's just going to be a discussion.
It's for next year. It's not this year.
It's for budgeting purposes.
This coming fiscal.
Yeah.
That's what I said. By the time we talk to the residents and open meeting and public hearing and all that stuff, I mean, we could propose it to the county.
That's what I'm about to suggest. If you just notify the county that the township is interested, then they can allocate the money aside. And if we don't use it,
let's add it as new business right now.
growth.
We can have it as a discussion point and then address it if we have to table it. Does that sound all right to everybody? Under letter G, 31 Mile Road.
Where are we at?
I'm sorry, pardon?
Where are we at?
The discussion 31 Mile Road. It's for a paving process or for budgeting purposes for the county. And we'll be able to explain a little bit more when Mr. Med tells everybody what's going on. Any other additions or deletions?
I'm being told that the wetland ordinance can be removed.
Number D, unfinished business, remove wetland ordinance. So A and C removed. Additional dispatch hire at 31 Mile Road under unfinished new business. Anything else?
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
Motion by Trustee Boyd, supported by Clerk Keith. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Public comment. Any public comment at this time?
I want to know, is the fireworks ordinance in effect yet, or is it still being worked on?
I can have Denny comment on that, but our inspectors are through our local with Denny right now, and I don't know what part of the ordinance he carries with the International Fire Code.
Oh, because I have a neighbor that seems to think anytime he wants to shoot them off, it's a holiday.
I can have the chief address that.
Yeah, right now it's against the law.
Well,
There's a state.
that's why I want to know.
If you could address the question, Chief, do you want to respond to that for the record?
Yes, it's, the state has adopted a law which allows for fireworks being shut off, and it's the day before, the day of, every recognized holiday that they have wrote into the state ordinance.
So to answer your question, if that's taking place, if you submit a complaint to the township, we'll forward one over to the chief?
Actually, that would fall under
Or to our sheriff?
the sheriff departments, because violation of state law.
Oh, so I call,
So call 911. You
well,
call
not
the-
911, but yeah.
You call the 469 number and make a complaint, and then they'll send a deputy over. Okay, good.
Thank you, Sheriff. Attorney Jackson.
If I could clarify a little bit there, I know we were working on an ordinance and there is a draft that was ready. What we need to do is verify whether it ever made it back to the township board to be adopted. If not, it is ready. And it is an ordinance that the state law allows the township to adopt ordinances concerning this with regard to the holidays and whatnot. So that's what that purpose of that ordinance was. And if it's not in place, it is ready and can be brought back to the board for adoption.
Okay, thank you.
We will confirm one way or the other.
Thank you. Also at this time, I'd like to give Jennifer an opportunity to introduce herself, and Edward.
This is Edward. I'm Jennifer. We're both from France. We're working here on a documentary about the Sheriff's Department. So we're following Sheriff Wickersham for a French television piece. So feel free to come to us if you have any questions. It will be filmed tonight, but it's going to air in France. So let us know.
We have to get tickets to go.
Yeah, we're buying tickets to the scene.
We welcome you to Lenox Township.
Thank you very
for
much
being
for having
here.
us. Honored. Thank you.
So we're international now, so everybody knows. Any other public comment at this time? Mr. Mary.
I'm getting there. Hey, I'd just like to say or ask people, last Saturday morning, about 5:30, my daughter was going to work, and she found two little kittens on 28 Mile Road just before crashing. They're about 4 weeks old. Man, if you're going to drop them off by houses, or better yet, if you don't want to have your cats and dogs spayed and neutered, they're doing good.
Right.
Yeah. Randy did, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mary. Any other public comments at this time? Public comments? Approval of minutes, 4/6/2015.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Motion by Trustee Boyd, supported by Treasurer Attenbacher. Any other questions? Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Sheriff's report. Sheriff Wickersham. Sheriff's report. Sheriff Wickersham, please.
Well, good evening, board, and again, thank you for allowing me to come here and address this body of government and also the residents of Lenox Township, and again, allowing our friends from France to come in and document what we do here in America. A few things that I wanted to talk to the board about. Again, our contract between Lenox and the Sheriff's Office expires at the end of this year. Again, it calls for 4.2 deputies. It gives us 24/7 coverage around the clock. We'll be working sometime this summer with a supervisor to enter into another 3-year agreement. More than likely, the cost may go up a tad. Obviously, the deputies are expected to get a 2% raise in 2016 from collective bargaining agreements, so you'll see probably just an increase in the wages in the next contract. Talk a little bit about statistical comparisons. Our year-end report should be coming out within the next month or two, but I pulled these numbers and just wanted to address the board. Comparison from 2013 to 14 on our non-assaulted property type crimes that we've dealt with here in the township, we've seen a reduction in 23%. That's the good news. The assaultive type crimes from 2013 to 14, we've seen an increase in 35%. So that's a concerning number to us. Again, those assaultive type crimes will include the assault and batteries, the domestic violences, and again, some of those domestic violences were called after the assault, but it still counts, and it's an increase, and something that our deputies are looking at. Our service calls, we've had a reduction there of 9% in service calls, and that could be from suspicious activity, broken down vehicles, lockouts, those type of complaints. And our traffic calls in that same time period is reduction of 6%. So some of the good news that I'd like to talk about, you know, we've always had this conversation over the last few years about, you know, the contracted car here in Lenox, leaving Lenox Township and going to the different communities to help out. And last year, I was able to adjust my deployment, and I was able to bring another county car up to this northern end. So those 4 communities that we've always talked about that don't have the police millage or something dedicated, we have some more coverage up there. What that has done is reduce the amount of time that a Lenox car needs to go and help out in Richmond or Ray. One of the other benefits that we received last year was Washington Township voters voted to increase their millage 1 mil, which actually took their deployment from 7 deputies to 14 deputies. So we're very confident with the numbers that we have out there that we can police Washington Township and they can take care of themselves. So what that has done is take those 2 county cars that we usually have helping out on that side of town, and they're focusing more on the northeastern part of the county, which is Lenox Township and New Haven. You know, New Haven, Lenox always working together, helping each other out, and that's just good neighbors is the way I look at it. You know, if you had your own police department, your police chief would be up here saying that we help out those surrounding communities. So our Sheriff's Dispatch Center, which all your 911 calls from this area are going to, that is continuing to grow. Our biggest challenge was this year in January, we moved off of what was the Clemis software. That was our CAD record management and mobile system, and we're on New World now. So the deputies have a little bit of a learning curve, but we've been up and running for about 2-3 months now. So we've got most of the bugs worked out. There's still a few that obviously with any large software change, you know, you're going to be presented with, but all in all, that transition went really smooth. End of February, 1st of March, we started dispatching for Sterling Heights. We're doing full police, fire, and EMS for them. And again, that was another big project that really tasks our dispatchers. So I'm happy to report that you know, that's working out well. Getting through the learning curve and the training curve, and I'm hoping by the end of summer and first of fall, we'll have a full complement of dispatchers, well trained and ready to service all of the Macomb County residents that dial 911 in our areas. Talk briefly of some of the recent incidents from 14 and 15, some of the what we felt was higher profile type cases that we handled here in Lenox Township. In June of 14, at the Myers store, we had a suspect that we identified. He was being involved in multiple retail fraud rings, so not only hitting here in Macomb County, but St. Clair County, and we were able to make the arrest here out of the Myers store. And now he pled guilty and is now in prison. We've had way too many you know, fatal accidents. One is way too many, but in August 2014, we had a 31-year-old Sterling Heights resident had a rollover at 20 Mile New Haven Road. 29 in Gratiot, we had a Sterling Heights woman that was killed. We also had in Gratiot here in Lenox Township, we had a multiple animal cruelty type complaint that we worked in conjunction with Macomb County Animal Division, and that case is currently pending in 42-2 District Court. We had a 26-mile Shell gas station. We had a 20-year-old male who was arrested for armed robbery at the gas station. He thought it was such a great place to go back. He robbed it earlier in the month. He came back, and this time we were able to catch him and charge him with both of those armed robberies. An interesting one, again, back at the Myers store, we had a 20-year-old male that was reported that he took his life in the parking lot of the Myers store. A friend had went in to purchase a candy bar, and all of our investigation indicated that it appeared that he committed suicide within that parking lot. And further digging into the circumstances of that case, we found that the individual actually took his life at a hotel in Marysville. And the individual drove all the way down here. He didn't know what to do. Went to the wire store, went in like he was purchasing a candy bar, came on out. All of both incidents were kind of caught on video, and he made it look like he just discovered the guy. Really a case that, in this job we never say we've seen it all, but this one was a little trying on the investigators. And again, we worked with St. Clair County, and actually that case has been turned back over to them. This year in March, we had multiple retail stores that we broke into along 26 Mile. I think it was the cell phone store and one of the other stores along there. We have video surveillance of the footage, and that case is still under investigation. Any one of these cases that we get that we do have good video, we always put it out to the media, asking for the public's help. And then again, tragically, on April 3rd of this year, we had the murder-suicide here in Lenox. So again, we're doing the best we can to prevent some of these and deter some of these crimes. But unfortunately, in some of these cases, it's just going to happen. But when these type of cases do, I just want to assure you that we do have the resources to come on up and handle these things. We bring up our major crimes unit, our detective bureau, our surveillance unit. They're all going to work them hard until we can hold somebody accountable and solve these crimes. So just to add that I think the overall township is in good shape. Again, I think our relationship is stellar. We're working well together. Our deputies that are assigned out here want to be here, and they're providing the best service they can. And we want to make sure that we stay ahead of the continuing crime trends, response times. We want to always make sure we're ahead of the curve on that, and that our workload of our deputies, making sure that they're providing effective and efficient service to your residents. So with that, that's my report, and at this time I'll take any questions from the boards or anybody in the audience.
Any questions for Sheriff Wickersham?
I will say that I live on the farthest road out on the Omo Road, and I see deputies at least once a day, if not twice a day, pretty much every day. So for them to get that far out, we know that they're hitting all the back roads out here. Yeah. So that's we do appreciate that.
Yeah, that increased second county car that I have up here is really making a difference. And we've instructed our dispatchers that the Lenox cars, the Washington car, and actually the New Haven car, make sure they do not leave the village. Always we have two resources out there. Utilize those resources. Keep these contracted cars in these contracted communities where the residents are paying.
Good showing.
Great. It's good news.
Any other questions for the sheriff?
Excuse my tardiness, but I really appreciate you coming out and explaining everything firsthand to us. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. I will make sure I let them know they do the work. And as it relates to your fire, you can call 911 if they're fireworks and they're not within the time period. Again, it's only the day before and the day after these holidays. And even I think, as the attorney said, I think your ordinance is probably going to control some type of time limit on those holidays. So again, they shouldn't be shooting them off after 10:30 or 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Don't ever hesitate to call us if your neighbors shoot them off.
I hate to report on the neighborhood.
You can always remain anonymous.
I have on it, and
You gotta have your peace.
One thing I can stress is communication. If anything's going on, please let us know. And we'll let the sheriff know, or directly to the sheriff. That way we can solve some of these problems as they arise. So, much appreciated. Anything else for Sheriff Wickersham? Well, I'd like to thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming out.
Thanks for your time. Everybody have a great night.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you. Fire Department report. Chief Fiche.
Just one item, we could receive and file the monthly report. If we do not get some substantial rain today, tomorrow, probably by the end of business tomorrow, I'll be invoking a township-wide burn ordinance. DNR is already in effect, put one in effect from Bay City North all the way through to the UP. We've had several fires. We had another one over the weekend, involved about 40 acres, so right now it's really dry.
Yeah, just to give everybody heads up too, I have received complaints of parties that are going on in woods where there are fires and stuff. If everybody could keep an eye out for this stuff, because like the chief said, people think it's wet in the spring. It's one of the driest times of the year for the trees and stuff, correct?
Correct.
So that's one thing we want to try to avoid, is a massive fire in our community. So,
Any questions on the report?
any questions for the chief?
Thank you.
Thank you, chief. EMS report.
I sent a report just an hour or two before the start of your meeting and would ask you to receive a call.
Thank you, sir. DPW report.
Good evening. Everybody should have a copy of my report that I submitted. For the most part, I'd like to just ask that you receive and file my report, with the exception of one of the items. Last month, I was up here and I asked for approval to hire a new full-time employee. That individual did start. He did work 2 weeks. Unfortunately, he was injured outside of work and has informed me that he will be unable to return. So we're kind of right back to where we started. We're back on the hunt to fill an open position within the Public Works Department. At this time, I am reviewing the applications I have on file from the last advertisement, but I feel like we're going to have to probably go back out for ad and get some more applicants. So at this time, I'd like pre-approval, if I deem necessary, to put another ad in the paper for this position.
After talking to you the first go around, I think we already know that's where we're going to be at, and I definitely would be in favor of that. I don't know any of the board's feelings, but we're in a pinch now again.
Yes, we're definitely on a time crunch. You know, before we were in a good position as far as timing, you know, hiring somebody, get them acclimated, but now, as you can see, everything is pretty much getting into full swing, and we're under the time.
I spoke with Cam earlier today, and I think we need to have something in writing from our gentleman here before we can really go and put an ad in the paper. It's strictly on Cam's email that we're saying he's not coming back. I've seen nothing in writing, so he has tried to contact him, and he sends
I did speak with him last Wednesday. That's when he did indicate to me that he was going to be unable to. And that's when I asked him to submit something in writing. After our conversation today, I did try reaching him again, but it went right to voicemail. So that would be the first since I've been in contact with him that it's like that. I don't know if there's a particular reason because he's under treatment or something else going on, but I will try again tomorrow.
And I agree, we should have something, but I don't think we should delay this process due to waiting on him. The only thing I'm pleased about is he didn't say it happened at work when it did, and I'm actually surprised he said he did it out of work.
First thing the next morning, and explained the situation. He was very apologetic. He actually feels really bad.
Right, I think he was a very good candidate for the job.
For the 2 weeks he was here, it was looking like it was going to be a really good summer. Looked like everybody was going to work out well. And it was just an unfortunate chain of events.
I don't think we'll have a problem getting something from him. I don't think it'll just take
I think he's just busy trying to navigate what he has going on right now.
But at the same time, we have the fear of we hire somebody and then we get a phone call from them saying, okay, I'm ready to come back to work.
Well, and that's why
I fill that spot.
You know.
Well, it's an at-will employment. We can terminate it at any time. He hasn't showed up for work, and he called in and said he wasn't going. He did call in and say he was done. Actually, Attorney Joppert, do you want to comment on that?
I did.
Do we have any problems with that?
Even from the initial phone call when he told me he was injured, I asked him to bring a doctor's note before he could come back, and I have yet to receive anything.
I do have one suggestion. If we don't get a timely response, the township shouldn't be left hung out without an employee when it needs one. Worst case scenario, if he does not get something in writing confirming it, then the township can send him something in writing indicating or confirming that he made the phone call on X date to you and indicated that he, whatever he indicated to you, that he wouldn't be able to return to work, and no longer be continuing his
For
employment.
that conversation.
And provide him, you know, if there's anything incorrect in this letter, to contact you, you know, within 24 hours or something to that effect. And that would serve a similar purpose.
And when he indicated to me that he was not going to be able to return to work, I did explain that procedure to him, that after so many days he would receive a letter, and then if there was still no response, so many days it would be a termination letter. This will just streamline that process if he already knows he's not returning.
Would it help to have a second seasonal person out of maybe the applications that you received?
Well, and that's one reason why there was only a few, let me strike that, there was only a couple that only put in for the part-time seasonal. So that's why I want to review those and see if they are applicants for that position or if we need to re-advertise. You know, I understand what you're saying, and I kind of agree as far as putting the ad out before we receive something from John. That's why I'm asking for pre-approval to do the ad. Once I receive that, then I can do the ad if I deem necessary, because we do not have a potential candidate.
And then we also have, you know, Patrick's been here a long time, so maybe talk to him about whether he would like to make it permanent. So,
I had that discussion with him this afternoon.
yeah, I'm just looking at all of it because
Yep, so am I.
I know this is your crunch, so
Oh yeah, I've been thinking about it quite a bit in between all the different things that we have going on right now, and trying to juggle it and get something going before it gets any
It's
later.
actually the worst time for them to train because they gotta get stuff done.
Right.
that's right. And I said Patrick's already,
Yes, and that's partly why I had that discussion with him today.
okay.
Also too, so it's known, Patrick did pitch in and help with the training when they
Oh, yeah.
needed the Chopin on board, so.
Was
I
very
did talk to
coming
Patrick.
and helpful when John first started, as far as explaining stuff to him and you know, basically showing him how we do different things, where different things were at. So I mean, I was happy, and I told him that I appreciated his extra effort in that manner.
Just so everybody knows, we had a guy that was making quite a bit less training than the guy who makes more, and he was very cool with that. He never squawked, right?
No.
So that was pretty good of him to do that.
So you're saying until we have something, he's asking to give, for us to give approval for him to advertise for this.
Well, I think if you're comfortable going forward with that, you can go forward with that. You just don't hire anybody until you're sure the paperwork's in place for this job.
And if not, we create the paperwork
Right.
to extinguish.
Yes, I think you've done motions in that regard in the past, so that we can practice the board.
Make a motion that we approve Cam to re-advertise if he finds the need is there in the next couple of weeks.
Support.
Motion by Clerk Key, supported by Treasurer Ottenbacher. Other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. As far as the rest of the report, normal tasks and projects that we've been working on, if anybody has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
I highlighted about that true grant. Are they going to give us, did we approve that for multiple years?
We did a 3-year contract, and when I did speak with him to verify that they put us on a schedule, he said yes. We're all just getting going, and we got to do it with the weather. He goes, prices are the same, nothing's changed. So I expect not only the same price, but the same service that they've given us thus far.
Okay. Couldn't recall.
I had to look up myself, to be honest.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Code enforcement report.
I have received the Michigan Liquor Control Commission reports.
Okay, thank you. Assessing Department report. Manager.
Good evening. I'd just like to bring you up to date on the AMAR, and if there's people that aren't familiar with what that is, it's an acronym for State Audit of Minimum Assessment Requirements. Basically, there's three components or review items: the database review, a document review, and then finally a record card or field inspection review. The database was requested from the contractor that the State Tax Commission has got doing the audit, Tax Management Associates, and we sent that database to them back in January. And about a week and a half ago, on the 22nd, is when we had the document review, where we brought all the documents that they asked for to them to review, and that went really well, I think. Then the final component that we don't know when that's going to happen is the actual field inspections. And one of the things that I attached to the report tonight was a sample letter that the contractor is going to send to the property owners that are selected. They are randomly selected. There's about 1% sampling. And they're supposed to send the letter to the owner prior to the inspection date. And that's pretty much what I wanted to bring your attention to and let everyone know that they may be selected and it is random. And all the other information on the report is pretty standard, so I just ask that you accept it and file it if you have any questions.
I think for the residents here, AMARS is something new. You might be remember it as the 14-point review that the assessing department used to, and everybody would cringe when, I know when Tom said this was happening, I thought, oh my gosh. But apparently it went pretty well. But like he said, they're going to do some random, it could hit anybody, any of us. So, but that's what it's all about. So if you hear, or you get a letter, don't panic.
Tom has already assured me he has no fear of it.
Well, Tom has no fear of me, and he knows what I've been after for some time. And we did get our stuff down to the county on the 16th of April, I think it was. And so far, so good.
Good.
Haven't heard from him. But I turned my phone off, too. I told him I didn't want phone calls. So, thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Engineers report. Mr.
No
Saban.
questions. Precinct 5, please.
Thank you, sir. Library report. Library will be closed Friday, May 22nd through Monday, May 25th, 2015. In observance of Memorial Day, they will reopen on Tuesday, May 26th. During the closure, the drop spots will be available for patron usage. Come to the library and join the hula hooping group. The program is geared for all ages and hoopers. Whether you need help getting started or want to learn cool tricks and techniques, the library is the place to visit. Saturday, May 2nd, 2014 is Free Comic Day. The library will give comic books to patrons from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The first run film will be presented on Monday, May 18th for Movies and Munchies. The movie will begin at 5:30 on Tuesday, May 19th from 5:30 to 7:30. The library will host its monthly adult craft program. Join us and learn how to make a basket using newspaper.
And that's supposed to be 2015, not 14.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
No, it's a typo.
I didn't notice it. Thanks for the correction.
Just a quick comment on the library report. I don't know how many of you are aware that our director, Karen White Owens, is also an accomplished author herself. She has books in print, and I'm in the middle of reading one, and it's actually pretty good. And yeah, okay, it's a romance novel, but the neat part of it is it's set in the Detroit metropolitan area. You know, on the first page, it talks about going to Kensington Metro Park, and then they talk about, you know, the roads, you know, in Detroit and everything. So it's pretty neat. So if anybody wants it, I have a first book though, so I have to finish it and then you can get it. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Senior Center report. Supervisor's report. Just like to report, actually I spoke to Dave Rogers tonight. He's on the same page as me. We're going to get Gratiot cleaned up a little better due to all the winter stuff. Now that all the snow's melted and everything, we have stuff that's been blowing from the highway. We're going to get on that and get that looking good. And we've had some code enforcement issues too with regarding of dirt bikes and things of that nature. Please bring it to our attention if any of these problems still exist. Also, like Chief Hussein was saying, the number one thing is the fires right now. Please bring it to our attention if you see anything that could pose a hazard or danger. But other than that, that's it. Thank you. Treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Support. Motion by Trustee Turchi, supported by Trustee Boyd. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Orders and bills. Good.
And because I was here on Saturday for election duties, we actually got the mail. So some of the mail that came in was actual bills, and so I added those to that. The ones that came in were from Pitney Bowes, Frontier, and the high-tech May contract. So the new total is $253,372.87
Make a motion to approve the orders and bills in the amount of $253,372.87.
Support.
Motion by Trustee Boyd, supported by Trustee Turchi. Any question or discussion? Deputy Clerk, roll call, please.
Turchi?
Aye.
Boyd?
Aye.
Achenbacher?
Aye.
Keith?
Aye.
Trombley?
Aye. Motion passes. Trustees report. Trustee Turchi, please.
At Planning Commission level, we did again talk about the master plan, and what we came up with was our planner is going to do a breakdown of what the cost would be, whether we do a full-blown review, partial, or just look at it. But it has to be done because the state requires you to do it every 5 years. So that'll be forthcoming. We're also looking at a couple ordinances and making sure our ordinance follows all the RLUIPA acts, because there were some typos in different areas and in some of the areas, special land use for this, but it wasn't allowing churches. So we're just updating it to make sure that we're not discriminating about, and it has to be changed to places of worship, because it's not necessarily called a church. It could be a synagogue, could be whatever. So we are following up on it. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Boyd.
For the last several months, I've been trying to find a place to recycle all our old computers. And through the county, I found a place, and I will be getting rid of all the computers on the 28th. But one of the things they told me is there's a company that's doing this that will potentially come here and set up for the residents to come and get rid of a lot of stuff. Paints, spray cans, pretty much everything you might have in your house. So I'm working on that, and hopefully before the end of summer, but it might not happen that quick because they're pretty full up. It's the same company that Shelby Township is using, and they don't charge us anything. They're actually looking to make a few bucks off the recycled stuff. So hopefully it'll be a free event, and hopefully it'll be set up in the parking lot here sometime this summer. That's all I have.
Yes.
There was just a blip on the news tonight about that, about how much of that stuff is going into landfills. And now it's, technology stuff is exceeding garbage being disposed of.
And the thing is, they can make money off of it.
Yeah, right.
If you find these companies that do this, they tear this stuff apart and recycle it. And they do make money on it. So they're willing to come out here.
I have no knowledge on it. Mr. Rogers might be able to give us the best information on that.
Actually, electronics and that type of material is actually a prohibited waste, and we cannot accept that material.
But it, well, it didn't say actually Michigan, it was, this was on national news tonight, that this technological stuff, because everybody buys these phones, they keep them for a year, they gotta have a new one, what do they do with them? They throw them away. So it's going into landfills and
I'm
stuff.
sure there is material that gets mixed, commingled with the trash, but by law, it is actually prohibited waste. We cannot accept it.
That might be, and I mean, you might not accept it, but unknowingly, apparently, a lot of it is going into landfills. Not necessarily Michigan, like I said, this was on the national news tonight.
So just so everybody knows, don't throw it in the green.
Yes.
Wait till we have our event here.
Yeah, we'll work on getting something here.
Thank
And
you.
hopefully, once we start it, it'll be yearly.
You have something like that?
Yeah, just real quick, in the meantime, you know, if you're looking to get rid of stuff beforehand, I made some phone calls, Best Buy in Chesterfield, take up to 7 items at a time per week.
Free of charge?
Batteries, trying to get rid of dry cell batteries is becoming very, very difficult. Nobody wants to take them. They will take them. The only thing, 9 volts, you have to make sure that the ends are capped or taped off so they don't start a fire when they're in the container. But they take anything electronic, any kind of electronic device or batteries. Yep.
Free of charge?
Free.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you. Clerk's report.
Tomorrow is election day. We have statewide proposal on the ballot, and so we're waiting to see if we get buried or not. Also on Saturday, I went to the open house opening of the New Haven Fountain. So the New Haven Fountain is up and running, and the bricks are all laid, and they do have the benches. They have matching benches, so that is all taken care of. I didn't actually get a chance to talk to Chuck about that. I just kind of, you know, he was too busy to get into it. But it was a very nice ceremony, and Jeff White's got a brick up there, I saw it. So that was for that. It was very nice. Also, the Lenox New Haven Historical Society is putting on a fundraiser. They're having a wine tasting evening, and this is on May 16th at 7 o'clock. It's going to be at the Victoria Station Studios, which is actually the Faces Lounge on Victoria Street. Donation is $25, and tickets can be bought at Rosella Florist. So if anyone's interested in that, that's all I have.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to receive and file all reports.
Support.
Motion by trustee Turchi, supported by trustee Boyd. Is there a question or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Unfinished business. Letter B, 2012 International Property Maintenance Code adoption. Shannon, is there anything you'd like to address on that other than we just need to adopt that resolution?
No, that's really it. I attached a copy for you guys to be able to look at, just the sections that we're just basically changing dates to match the new year. There's nothing significant that has changed in the code. Basically, bottom line is the state references the 2012 International Building Code. So in order to stay consistent and not confused, we've done it every year, every 3 years since 2000, so.
Just a formality.
Just a formality, yep.
Is there specific language we need attached to that, Attorney Jopik, or just adopt it as per that line?
This is adoption of an ordinance, so I'm not sure what line you're referring to, but it would be adopting, I see it's been given ordinance number 01-2015.
That's it?
Ordinance to adopt the 2012 International Property Maintenance Code.
Correct. The only things that would be changing is if you look, there's where it says legislation at the top, section 2 on the bottom, where it's just section 101.1, name of jurisdiction. We're just inputting the current information in those areas to reflect the current year.
Make a motion to adopt the 2012 International Property Maintenance Code, Ordinance 01-2015.
Support.
Motion by Trustee Board, supported by Trustee Turchi. Any other question or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Shannon. Oh, that's Terry Terra.
Yep.
Building Department advertisement. Here's a copy of this for a committee to review, update the building department advertisement and review a restructure and inspection pay schedule. I'd like to have this completed and placed on the June agenda. So basically, we need a...
Before we advertise.
Pull that, can you pull that mic please closer to you guys?
Wow, it's just...
I'm sorry. Just move the stand if you want.
Before we advertise, everybody was talking about just going over the pay.
All the specifics in order, basically.
Yeah, for the advertisement, forming a committee to go over the advertisement and some changes that Steve had done, and then restructure and review the inspector's pay schedule.
So I guess there's a couple ways we can do it as, in a separate meeting as a board as a whole, as a workshop.
Like a workshop, like we do with the
However
budget.
the board deems necessary. I hope to have input from Attorney Jopik on this too. So if he could be involved, we want to make sure we get everything right and do the right thing. What looks good for everybody. We could, I know we have budget workshops coming too. We could piggyback possibly some of this.
It all depends if you want the whole board there to go through it, or just a couple board members and the building department.
Would you like to add anything?
I just pulled my schedule out if there's something scheduled I'm prepared to help. I've taken a look at the very initial draft and provided some input, but I know it's going to evolve from there.
Is there certain days for everybody that works better? Like I said, is anybody opposed to maybe piggybacking 2 meetings or 2 workshops or something to that effect?
Do we need the whole board here for this one?
Doesn't have to be, but more input better, whatever the board's pleasure is. So I don't want to exclude anybody. I'd like to include everybody involved in it, and that way everybody knows.
Pretty much any afternoon I'm available.
Is there any dates or?
Till we get our budget date set up. It's kind of difficult, isn't it? I'm available, I'm here every day too, so.
How would you do this? Can you table this till later in the agenda?
Well, why don't we just say we're going to do this, we're going to piggyback this on
Budget workshop.
the budget workshop, and then when we get to the budget workshop, we
We'll solidify the dates at that time. That sounds good to me. And we would request too, Mr. Hymas, if he's available and would like to participate, by all means, it's your choice, sir, on that. I mean, you have a lot of knowledge that,
And Shannon and I have been doing our homework and calling a lot of different communities,
Yep.
and it's all over the board and what everybody pays. So
Exactly.
we're trying to narrow it down and look at a few certain things, but we don't want to be the ones to make those kind of decisions.
and I know Mr. Jopic represents some other communities, and maybe we can get some ideas that way. That's what I'm hoping for also. And, you know, look to some of the communities around us that have some in effect. All right.
Thank you.
Want to make that motion?
I'll make the motion that we handle the issue from the building department advertisement and piggyback it on the meetings for the budget workshop.
Support. Motion by trustee Churchy, supported by clerk Keith. Any other question or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Dispatch hire. Chief Boucher.
With your pre-approval last month, the fire department held oral interviews for the applicants, and Miss Nancy Ford was hired as a dispatcher. She's been on approximately 2 weeks, and I provided you a copy of her application a couple weeks ago. And if you have any questions, she's been coming along real well until she lost her voice the other day, so now she can't do anything right now. But other than that, she's coming along real well with the training. We've got one of the senior firefighters training her, and the assistant chief, so she's doing real well. So,
great.
Questions on the hire? Okay.
As long as you're satisfied, that's what.
Yes.
Steve, do we actually have to do a motion, or consider what we did last month as a motion?
Well, I can't recall what the motion was last month and all that.
Well, you've already
Guys,
hired.
you gave us pre-approval to hire.
Right. She's already
Okay.
been hired.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is on the, I was.
Dispatcher.
Yes, no, yes, you should make a motion to ratify the hiring of.
Actually, you said detailed that the report would have to approve the selected person. However, the hiring process can go through with the fire chief issuing a report to the board at the next meeting for approval. That report should include all of the relevant information in terms of parameters of hiring. So that was the minutes.
Sounds very familiar, very accurate.
The rate of hire and all that? You want the rate of hire and all that? Okay. And Nancy has worked.
She has worked for the township as an election worker for several years now, so.
Yes.
She's not new to the township. She is a resident.
But I didn't find that out until after he'd hired her. You know, I said, oh, who'd you hire? And he said, oh. I make a motion to approve the hiring of Nancy Ford at a rate of $15 an hour for the fire department dispatch position.
Support.
Motion by clerk Key, supported by treasurer Anbacher. Any other questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. New business, Macomb County Department of Roads 2015 Dust Control Program. Everybody has a copy. This is just to confirm our cost and everything we're having done, correct?
Correct. The rates are the same as last year.
Application dates too are subject to change due to weather.
Yeah, exactly. Just like last year.
Do we know, one question, are they still subbing it out to? What happened before, so everybody knows, just so everybody's aware? We had a price that was very close, and we deemed that we wanted to hire the county versus the private company that was from Leonard, Michigan. Well, we hired the county, they subcontracted through the other bid. What we tried to do is keep our dollars here and keep our guys who work on our roads every day, who have the most knowledge and can apply during weather conditions. When the other people send the trucks out, they send them from Leonard, they're coming, they ain't stopping no matter what the weather condition is. What we were trying to do is coordinate it with our guys, so based on weather conditions, if they couldn't do it that day during a rainy period or something, they would hold off and wait. So we were trying the best to make this happen. They had cost concerns that they were trying to deal with. I spoke to Bob Hopner regarding it, because once I found out, it wasn't disclosed properly, but once we find out, we addressed it. Because our intention was to spend the money here in the county, keep our guys working, keep the guys who work on our roads, and hopefully get the best job, so everybody's aware.
Oh, the application last year were really lousy.
Well, and that's kind of my feeling on this. I know we get the 2 for free. I don't know about the lousy application. I just don't think it's an effective process. It doesn't do a whole lot. If it does anything, it's good for a day or two.
Yeah,
and then the
right.
dust is right back there again. So I'm not at all in favor of extra applications. I'm all for taking the free ones.
I can tell you this, our experience has been this, is we get numerous calls. Nothing compares to the calcium chloride. Nothing compares to it. I've talked to many individuals. Nothing works better, but you're going to pay the price. And it's an exorbitant amount of money. Triple. Well put.
Yeah.
Triple.
The salt brine.
And I apologize. When you show people that amount, they're livid. You're not spending that amount. That's a lot of money. When you get 4 applications, which does it work all the time? No. In some areas it does, depending on weather conditions. Does it seem to last long periods of time? Not really. It's a Band-Aid. This is our biggest bang for the buck, is what we found. If we get input and people want us to stop doing it, I'm all for it. But the input is always more. We've never gotten input that don't do it. We've always gotten input that we want more, we want more. We definitely can't do it with the calcium chloride because of cost, unless we get an overwhelming number of people that want to tell us spend the money, which I haven't seen happening, and I don't know about the board. But for us, this is, I guess, the best way to put as much on the road at a reasonable cost. I don't like it, but it's the only thing we can come up with at this time. It's the only alternative to the calcium chloride, I guess I should say. I've spoken to Cam about this at depth. At the MTA, I've met with individuals. Everybody says the exact same thing, and every community pretty much does the exact same thing. They have to do something. They do this because no one can afford the calcium chloride. That's what we're faced with. This is a company out of Leonard, Michigan. It's a salt brine product. It is weather related. Cam might be able to.
I can address that.
Or you can, please.
A lot is dependent on the weather. If it's real dry and they place the salt brine on the roads, it dries up really fast.
Through evaporation.
It's in the sand, it's in the gravel, and it's dry. If it was to rain, it would reactivate, and then it would start working again. How long that lasts, we don't know. If it doesn't rain, it wouldn't hurt them to a fire truck, or I don't know, a water truck behind it and just reactivate it that way, but they don't do that either, and that would really help.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables to it working properly. I guess that's the best thing to say.
Right.
So.
And if they put it down and then it rains, then it soaks in, but it soaks in too far, and it just kind of washes away a little bit, and that's not good either. So it's really dependent, like I said, on the weather.
So it's got to be just the perfect amount of rain pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is, I know a guy that works for the road
rain.
commission, that's exactly what he's saying.
Yeah, a soft rain, not a
It can't be a lot of rain, it can't be too little rain.
And I don't know if you've experienced the same information, but everybody says the calcium chloride works fantastic, but the cost is just overwhelming. The county doesn't use it, they can't afford it.
Right, and what they did last year, they increased the gallons per mile. They went from 2,000 gallons to 3,000.
Actually,
and that helps.
Mr. Safe actually did a correction on our mileage because we were paying for more than we actually were receiving, and he caught a mistake on that. Appreciate that. So we were able to revise that after our maintenance program.
Did Did we get 4 applications last year? Or did
No,
we
they gave
end
us a credit because I think they only did 3.
Right.
What we did too, though, based on the weather, we had rainy events too, which kept the dust down, so we held off on getting that. So we did ask them to activate it, we were able to save that amount of money.
So this year we did 3?
This past year we did 3. We you
Canceled it.
approved for
Oh,
4.
so we didn't pay for 4.
No.
Okay.
Well,
Gotcha.
you have to
Paid
send
for it, and they
in
returned.
advance.
They returned our money.
It was
Yeah,
real
it's gonna-
wet, so there was no dust issues or dust events, so.
Right. Yeah, as soon as this is approved, we have to get a bill, and then we pay for all of it up front. And then if at the end of the season, if we don't use all, then we get a credit back.
It's up to us.
Well, like I tell a lot of residents, if their road is really dusty and they have already been down that road with the salt brine, call me, let me know. I can call county. You can.
The county automatically does their
Yeah.
applications,
I
this
can
is
have
just
them
for
go
us
out
to
back
do
out
our.
there and check that
So
road.
if we approve it and we don't want it, it's been wet, we can call them and tell them, don't do it, give us our money back.
Absolutely.
Sometimes they'll go down the road the second time if I get a lot of calls saying, if it's not done, people are still complaining, they'll go back out and check it and sometimes apply it again. But
The problem we have
need
is
to know.
they're coming from Leonard, Michigan, and they come all the way out here with the load and they're applying and it starts pouring rain. They're still applying.
They're not gonna go back and come again.
Exactly.
Are you saying the county contracts for these people?
Absolutely, that's where they get their product from. That's where the salt brine wells are from this, I think her name's Eisenhart,
I think so.
from Leonard, Michigan.
Road maintenance is the name.
Yes. So it's a salt brine product from the wells. This is what we've done for the last,
I gave everyone a copy of the agreement for last year and the dates that we put in. So-
right now, we're, as application dates were May, mid-June, August, and September is what we'd be looking at for application purposes.
Do we want 4 applications again this year?
Well, like we said, based on whether we can adjust, if it's wet or.
My issue is though, it's $20,000 an application. I live on one of the back roads and it would be nice if this stuff worked, but it doesn't. It's a lot of money to spend for virtually nothing.
Well, if you don't see it's working, call and let us know that.
Yep.
And we can have them come back out there and say, all right, you were just out here last week, but it doesn't look like you did anything. They'll go back out and check and reevaluate that area.
My thing, I'd like to see maybe 1 application of this and put the other 20,000 into limestone. Save it for another.
They won't allow us to do
But I
it
mean,
more.
for next year, and
Oh,
then if
gotcha.
we do get that extra mile or 2, that we have it saved for that.
Yeah, because if we went 4, it's actually $40,000.
Right. They're doing 2, and we would do 2.
I'm afraid that if we didn't do any, Chris, if we just stuck with the 2, it'd be a lot worse than what it
Yep.
is.
I'll agree with that
We're
statement.
thinking it's not doing anything, but it really is in the long run.
Yeah, it's not, exactly. I agree with that statement. I do think we have to do something or it's really gonna be noticeable.
I could see going down to the 3 though.
That
What
sounds
I-
like
what I
a really
would
good
say-
idea, Karen.
What I would suggest is we leave this in place based on as needed, and like we did last year. Come the end of the season for application purposes in September, if it's not needed, we don't do it. But we have it in place until we have to.
Can we change the dates? I mean, it's already May. What if we said, you know, if we could arrange it for the week before Memorial
Yeah,
Weekend?
right now, it's not needed.
No, not on my road, but I don't.
Yeah, what we usually do is for Memorial Weekend, and then try to see the 4th of
4th of
July,
July.
and then if we want a 3rd one in September.
I would leave the 4 applications in place in case we do get a drought or something. We can always stop them at any time. That way we have it in place like we did before. We can always, based on weather conditions, adjust. That would be my advice on this.
What do the others that live on the back road think?
You know, another thing is, if the county, you know, a lot of times, in fact, we just had a dry spell, okay? Our road was really in good condition. No dust, some holes, yeah. But the county came out, you should see the mess they made. It was like plowing through quicksand. The road was so bad. Sometimes it's the county's fault. If they leave the roads alone when they're nice and hard, instead of thinking they have to come down and grade when they really don't.
I've had numerous talks with Mr. Hopner, and what he's asked for now is any resident complaints, he wants them to go directly to him. That's what he's told me and the deputy supervisor directly. He would like a phone call going directly to him to establish the problem directly, because I was calling him constantly, and he's like, please tell any residents, call me directly with any complaints.
Good, what's his phone number?
We'll be happy to get that to you. But there is a lot of issues where they're not cutting the ditching.
Right.
They're leaving that edge on the side of the road where the water stands. And, you know, we are attacking these limestone-based situations with this road maintenance program we have, and now to the ditching program that we've established with him that we're going to confirm with the DPW, where he's going to start paying a little bit more attention to ditching. We've had meetings regarding that, because we have that issue in some areas where there's no ditching, and that water just sits, and that's what erodes when people keep going through all of that, just erodes and erodes. So with the limestone program, where we're monitoring where we're putting these, with the ditching effort, with the dust program, as much as we can do, I don't know anything else we can do with these roads right now. We just got to monitor them, and if there is special attention needed to certain areas, please let us know. But we have Cam, Jeff, and Denny that, for emergency purposes, have to run these roads. They're supposed to let us know if there's any major issues that keeps them from emergency response at this time. So,
I know it's wonderful for the residents to call the county, which I recommend still doing, but I'd also say call here and let us know.
both. I appreciate both.
This way we know if our residents are complaining, if they're happy or if they're not happy with the roads. And this way we can follow up and say, okay, county, what did you do or what didn't you do? We need to know.
Trust me, we've spent hours out on the roads. We've even had, I've gotten the DPW and these guys involved before, and our engineer has spent hours with me out on the roads for certain, I mean, multiple hours. We've done everything. It all comes down to working with Mr. Hopner and getting the guys out there. They have scenarios where they have to train new people on grading and things of that nature, and unless we let them know, they don't know. So we have to let them know whenever we can. And I don't know if you have any other suggestions, Sir Matt, but we've been through the ringer on all of it. Through the ditching, through the limestone applications, through everything, so.
You guys done good.
A lot of people think that ditching is for draining their property. The ditching is actually for draining the roads. So that's one of the issues we have in a lot of areas where people drain their properties to the ditches, and that's not necessarily what that's for. The ditches are for draining the roads. So, am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
So what would you like to do?
I'll make a motion that we accept the 2 applications from the county for our roads and pay for an additional 1. And I'd like to also have the first one done late May, the second one done late June, the third late August.
Support.
Motion by Trustee Churchy, supported by Clerk Keith. Any other questions or discussion?
Does everybody agree with that
The only-
time frame?
The only thing I say is because of the weather, to dictate a time, and I mean, I don't even like laying these dates out. If we have a month of rain, we don't need it. So I hate to lock us in on dates.
If we give the county those dates, they're gonna do them on those dates?
We can call them up and change it, so
Well, that's
what I'm
fine
saying.
then, yeah.
Well,
But I'm
But
those are
those
suggestions.
the motion is to do them on those timeframes. I would like it left open that we'll make sure you want 3 applications.
In my motion, it should say recommended dates would be as listed.
Okay?
Support.
And just so everybody knows that if the weather is not permitting, we're gonna
Oh,
take care of it.
yeah, that's, goes without saying, if it's pouring rain and we have torrential rains, we're not gonna do it.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. So we're gonna just pay for one extra application then, to be determined at the end of the season. We're gonna take the 2 free ones first.
Late June and late August.
Everybody understands that? Take the 2 free ones first and then,
Yep. But I'd also like the minutes to reflect that we will possibly use that 20,000 next year as Karen Anbacher suggested towards limestone.
okay. Letter B, vacant property registration and maintenance ordinance revision. Shannon?
You've just been a busy person, haven't you?
Oh, I'm not done yet. Basically, this is the vacant property ordinance that was adopted, Part 91 Ordinance 3. In our ordinance, it is stated that properties that become vacant after the 30th day, they are supposed to be registered with the township. There's a $200 fee for the 4 trades to do their inspections. We have been kind of running into some difficulties with the banks following through with getting this done. The original form that they had to fill out was missing some key information. It was asked of me if I could revise that for them to include local responsible party names. Some of these banks are out of state. They have local property maintenance companies that are taking care of them. And the old form didn't have that information. So I just made some adjustments to add the local responsible parties information on here, along with the mortgage company and the owner's information as well. Tracking down owners once they leave is very difficult. It takes a lot of time.
It's almost impossible.
It's almost impossible. Yes, it takes quite a bit of digging to find them, and then the banks are not really forthcoming with that information either. So,
Just to interject, this is a huge, huge concern for a couple simple reasons. We have people in houses after the fact that have open permits and no certificate of occupancy on some of these without their knowledge. So we have people that are living in dwellings that their insurance could be null and void because they don't have the permits closed out. They weren't aware, it wasn't disclosed properly to them. They purchased these homes through the banks, and these permits were never dealt with. In some cases, these permits were paid for up front, but never closed out.
correct.
In those cases, my opinion are we should work with that homeowner to get these closed out and not charge them because that fee was collected in advance. If the fee wasn't collected, then I do think there should be a fee for it. But in most cases here, I think we need a quick response to this because, like I said, we have people that need to work with us to make sure that they have a certificate of occupancy and their insurance is in effect on the dwelling that they're occupying. In some cases, they're not going to want to let us into the houses for fear that they've done other
work
without doing a permit. We need to assure that we're not going to penalize them anymore, but we need to make sure they have the proper permitting so they are covered for insurance purposes. Because once again, their insurance will be null and void if they did not follow proper permitting. Attorney Jopic, we've worked with on this. I don't know if you'd like to add to that, but that's our major concern is that since we're aware of this, we have to fix this problem. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, to some extent. It's ultimately the obligation of the owner to get these permits and to get the certificates of occupancy and so forth. Also, when a person closes on property at a closing in a real estate transaction, there's some responsibility on their part to be doing their due diligence, making sure everything's in line. And the same thing for their insurance company, to be making sure that those things are addressed. I think the idea here, and as a matter of fact, just last week, Shannon and I were talking about a letter and developing a letter to send out to residents where we know that there's an outstanding C of O that hasn't been issued, but permits pulled. A letter that informs them of this, because as Supervisor Trombley indicated, they may not know. They may not have done that due diligence at their closing. They may not have checked into this. The insurance company may not have checked into this, and so forth.
Through non-disclosure. In some cases, when purchasing through the bank, there's non-disclosure because they haven't lived in the dwelling and can't disclose.
So the letter would let them know and provide them an opportunity to get in touch with the building department, to have somebody come out and do the inspection. There's the question of waiving the fees in that instance when it is an innocent oversight in a situation such as this, as opposed to somebody who pulled a homeowner's permit, for example, and left it hanging out there and no mortgage foreclosure was involved. Probably don't want to be waiving the permits for the final inspection in those matters. So it's kind of a judgment letter, what type of letter to send out, a judgment call, what type of letter to send out. But there are other types of C of Os, as I understand it, that are outstanding that don't involve this circumstance with mortgages. So 2 types of letters, trying to get these closed out. I'm in the process of looking at the state of Michigan. Apparently they've come down, and I communicated this last week, with some guidelines on procedures on how they think it should go. And as you know, the state construction codes are just that, they're state construction codes. We administer them on behalf of the state. So if the state tells us how we should be handling some of this, we have to listen, and I'm trying to find those at this time and see what we could come up with there in terms of exactly how to write these letters to the residents. As far as this ordinance is concerned, I'll have to admit I went through it today when I received it, and I was familiar with its existence previously. Some of the fees and whatnot that are on here, they require a separate resolution or a separate action by the township board. The fees I don't think are stated right in the ordinance. In form that's attached, that's also separate from the ordinance. It looks like some of this can be implemented on that form itself for these particular circumstances.
Now, will we need to adopt this revision tonight?
Well, I don't know if it's at the point of being ready to adopt. I haven't discussed that.
As far as sending the letters out go, Steve and I, we still have to work those details out as far as the certificate of occupancies goes. Basically, what I'm looking for this evening is to revise it for future action, so that I can get in touch with my maintenance companies that are calling, the banks that are calling, saying, you know, what is your ordinance?
So you just need a motion to go forward with revision?
Basically, yes, that's what I'm looking for. Like I have it kind of laid out here for you, the bullets, the numbers here. Right now, we do have a $200 fee for registration. However, our ordinance states that we also require annual inspections for each year that the home is vacant. However, there's no additional fees. So I did some researching, you know, some other communities to see how they did that. Came up with an average of $125, which is their annual costs for the inspectors to go out again each year that it remains vacant to do their inspections. I mean, $50 per trade to go out 5 years for a vacant home just doesn't seem realistic to me. So I wanted to implement that on there as well, just because we do have that in there where it states we have to do annuals.
So just a motion for revision with working with the attorney and you to come up with a new version of the ordinance, correct?
For the certificate of occupancy, Steve and I will work together on that for those current issues.
Right. Well, as I see it, there are a few things floating around here. There's the letters we're working on from an administrative standpoint. There's the form that is provided for the signing to register. And that's usually something that's put together on the administrative level. But as far as the fees, that would be by motion of the board. So you see in this letter that Shannon's put together as the cover sheet here, as I see it, there are 3 fees that I
Yes.
think are being sought
Yes.
to be adopted by the board. An annual fee of $125 for continued yearly inspections.
So you're ready to take action on the fee tonight then?
I would like to, just because I do have some banks and I have Safeguard, which is one of our top maintenance companies in Lenox. They are asking me to revise this and to give them a more specific policy, which we don't have right now, because it does state an annual inspection, but it doesn't say there's an annual fee. So I thought that might need to be addressed before I can answer that.
And just so everybody knows too, there is sometimes trouble with these property maintenance companies too, where they take over before redemption is expired in some of these cases.
Well, another thing too that we're having problems with is the ordinance states that these companies are supposed to be within 30 miles of Lenox Township. However, we have some that are based in Ohio.
Sure, based anywhere.
Trying to maintain them so you can see they can get a little overlooked if you're not right here. So there's a few things that need to be addressed with the ordinance. I'm just kind of taking it piece by piece.
A lot of times the banks will try to accelerate due to abandonment.
Yes.
But there are redemption periods in place that overrule that, I guess you should say, in most cases, and it depends on acreage and things of that nature. But typically 6 months to a year, 6 months on under 3 acres, a year at over 3 acres on a residential structure. For most cases for redemption period, even after foreclosure. But these companies will come in sometimes ahead of time and relock the place and say they're responsible for costs, and there's still an opportunity for that homeowner to redeem that property in full while that redemption period is still in place. So
there's some enforcing, we have to, there's things in the ordinance that we have to start really enforcing. The properties are supposed to be tagged either by the bank or the homeowner if they're leaving it. I don't think that is being followed, so I added that to the form.
Contact information.
Per section F, if a property management company is named, they have to have a sign on the home stating that, inspections are required. That way anybody who is looking at the home knows that this is a potential issue and they need to contact us and question if there's open permits. Right now, I don't think that's been done. I don't think that it's been they know to do it.
Would we post a disclosure at that time too, once it's brought to our attention? Did we post a disclosure at that time too? Or are we just going to leave it up to them to come check with us?
As of now, we've been leaving it up to them.
Right, but I mean, would that be something we'd want to be proactive on and post it if we do have knowledge of it through this company?
I think that we could.
Or is that getting a little more involved than we want to?
Well, I mean,
I'm just trying to be,
yeah, we wanted.
Now they're saying, oh, well, now we go to Lenox Township, they're involved, they're a part of this whole process, which in a way we are, but I just hate to bring more stuff on us than we really need to.
Right, no, I understand.
Whether we like it or not, I mean.
We are, I mean, if we adopted the ordinance, we have to enforce the ordinance. And I'm being bombarded by, like I said, banks, homeowners, these management companies, and they ask, do you have this ordinance? And I say yes, but it's a little sketchy. Okay, well, you require annual inspections. Well, how much are your annual inspections? I don't have an answer. So I started kind of digging into what other communities do.
And a lot of these are not little issues. Bob can tell you, they're big issues, right, Bob?
It is a big issue.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking some serious items or health and welfare issues with some of these open permits.
Right. It's becoming a larger problem, so I felt it needed to be addressed now. And as far as the fees go, like I said, the 200 is what we have written already, so they're aware of that. The 125 would take care of the annual. And then I did add a $25 fee in here, which I also spoke to New Haven and how they run theirs. And basically what that is it's kind of like a penalty fee because you didn't register your property in 30 days, and now I have to track you down and try to figure out who's responsible. And I have to call different states, different banks, send out multiple letters, emails to try to track these guys down. So what New Haven does is they just kind of say, okay, well now you owe us $25 because you didn't register in time. So it's kind of a penalty fee. So those are the 3 fees that I want to implement.
Attorney Jeff?
Yes, I was wondering if the ordinance that is in the agenda packets, is that the ordinance as it currently exists, or is this a revised draft of the ordinance?
No, this is how it is as of right now.
Okay, that is to me an important clarification. I thought we were talking about amending the ordinance. And I see, because I do already see in here, section 6 has provisions allowing the board to establish fees for all of the things that Ms. Komorowski is talking about this evening. And so at this point, I think what is before the board, and please correct me if I'm mistaken, Shannon, but look at the building department is looking for
adjustment of fees,
a resolution adopting these amended and added fees, which I looked at the ordinance, they're allowed. They're already provided for under the ordinance for the board to adopt a resolution establishing these fees. A motion can be considered a resolution. So this evening, what I see being added here or requested here is 1, implementation of an annual fee of $125 for continued yearly inspections.
Correct.
A registration fee of $200 for the initial inspections.
Correct.
And a $25 per hour, minimum 1 hour fee to cover costs for determining home ownership and other related information.
Correct.
That's laid out in this memo. So those would be the 3 things that would be requested in the resolution. Items number 1 and 4 in your report are more administrative things that you're going to implement.
So is that the only motion we need tonight?
I think as far as the board is concerned, those are the
Yes.
3 things that would be needed. The other 2, the form can be handled administratively, and the process for communication.
Which you'll work with.
Okay.
Which you'll work with Attorney Job again.
Yes.
Kind of a question now, who's supposed to pay for these fees? The bank? I mean, if a family deserts their home because they can't afford it,
Well, we're
they're
talking
not,
about for
who's gonna
permits.
pay?
So who's supposed to pay for it is who pulls the permit, which when they do, they're supposed to follow that process all the way to the end. When they don't, which is what we're finding out now, if somebody comes in on a purchase that's already been paid for, they don't know that that permit's still open, that it hasn't been closed out. So in most cases, it's already been paid for. We just got to contact, let them know there's an open permit. We need to close this out through inspection with the township. But in some cases, what we're finding out is they don't know. And when we contact them, they could be afraid that, well, we've done other things without pulling permits since we moved in. We really don't want you out here now to see what else we've done because we're afraid we're going to have to spend money now on pulling other permits. We have to assure them that this is in their best interest to close these permits out so it doesn't null and void their insurance. And we'll work with them and get them through the process. So
Yeah, but that's
Most
not,
times what
that's not
happens is
explaining these fees. These fees sound like a deserted house.
Right, that's
Yeah,
for anything new coming
If a
up.
home becomes foreclosed on,
Right.
And unfortunately
Anything
the
new.
people have to leave, the banks are the ones who normally HUD, or the banks are the ones who would fill out this registration form and let us know, okay, we have this house now. It's vacant as of right now. Rarely is it a homeowner, but it can be that they decided that they're leaving the home and they will register it. I do have a couple that are like that, but the majority are bank-owned properties
Most
or
of them are
government.
not going to spend the money on something.
Well, no,
Right.
that's why I'm like, if you walk away from your home, you're not gonna put more money into it. That's why you left, because you didn't have the money to afford it.
Right, and at some point, it's gonna go back to either the government or the bank, one or the 2.
So we're looking at making these fees effective. The only part that bothers me, and you've said it twice, and it's just for clarification, you keep saying that they might not want to let us in there because they've done work that they shouldn't have done, and they should have pulled permits out, and they didn't. We don't want to ensure them that there's not going to be any kind of penalization or any kind of fees. There should be.
Well,
if they're in there doing work that they shouldn't have done without pulling permits,
Correct.
shame on them.
And that's, I mean, the bottom
One of
line
the
is.
things I said about the missing was things that had already been paid for.
Right, but you're saying they're afraid, they might be afraid because they did other work and we need
That
to,
was
We are
and we
meeting a
need to
little bit
assure
of
them that they're not
resistance.
gonna be penalized. Well, I don't agree with that.
No, it's not-
I agree with you.
Not penalized, it's that we're gonna help work through the process with them.
That's fine.
Right.
That's
And that's an issue in talking to Bob and Shannon that we came up with, that people we think have done things without pulling proper permits.
Which is preventing them from
You understand what
following
I'm saying, right?
through. Yes, absolutely. I mean, bottom line is if there's work that was done, hey, and it requires a permit, we're gonna have to try to work with them to get it all corrected and get them right. I mean, the bottom line is that their homeowner's insurance is at risk. If you don't have a certificate of occupancy, you're not supposed to be living in the home. So we want to kind of, work with everybody and get it corrected in the best possible way.
It's not our fault if they did work they shouldn't have, and now they're afraid to let our inspectors in.
And that's one thing that I would like to make a really strong point of is anyone who is looking to purchase a home, they should be contacting the township or city, looking at delinquent taxes, looking at delinquent bills, special assessments. Each department, if you get a phone call like that, it should be right away. Well, I'm going to pass you over to the treasurer's office now, make sure there's no delinquent taxes. I'm going to pass you over to, so that we're all on the same page and we all, each time, each person that calls with those questions, each department, every department, because they don't know. These residents, you're buying a house, you're not thinking about open permits.
You never think that.
No, they don't know.
So we're not changing the ordinance at all.
The ordinance, we do not need to change. Nope, just the process and the fees that we are going to implement.
I'll make a motion to allow the building department to implement an annual fee of $125 for continued yearly inspections for vacant homes, to add a registration fee of $200 that covers initial inspections from building, plumbing, mechanical, and electrical, and allow them to set up a $25 1-hour minimum for determining home ownership, $25 an hour, minimum 1 hour for determining home ownership and issuing citations and violations. Did I get it all, Steve?
Supported.
Motion by trustee Boyd, supported by treasurer Attenbacher. Any other questions or discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Budget workshop schedule. Jeanette, any ideas?
I sent an email, about a month ago, requesting Wednesdays for May, but we didn't set a time. I'm not sure if you want to keep with Wednesday or not. It'll be all up to the five of you.
So we have the 6th, 13th, 20th, and 27th, if we want Wednesdays.
Correct.
What time are you talking about, though? Wednesdays, I work at a dentist in New Haven, and I'm out anywhere between 5 and 6.
Would another night be better? Or
Yeah, 'cause that was just
earlier,
thrown out
or?
there.
Yeah,
Okay, what other days?
no, that's gonna vary. You could set it up for 6 o'clock on Wednesdays. I can be sure and make it here. It's just, sometimes I'm gonna run, I can't say I can be here at 5:30 because sometimes my last patient isn't until 4 to 5.
But you would be able to make it if we get started ahead of time.
Right.
You could make it.
Yeah, so if you could set it up for 5:30, 6 o'clock, and as soon as I can get here, I can get here. It's right down the street. It's at Downriver Community.
What time would you like to start?
I'm here, so.
That's.
Are we thinking start like as soon as the office is closed, let's get into it? 5 o'clock? Or do we want to break for dinner and then come back?
You can do that, and like I said, sometimes I'm done. I just can't say for sure.
No
I
problem
can't tell a
with that.
patient if they came in at 1:45. Sorry, I gotta leave at 5.
The only good thing about starting at 5 and be happy to have you involved and come in, and if we need any department heads, they would already be here. If we need some interjection, they could be here shortly and then leave.
Yeah, and then if you make it at 5:36, then you're all, what are you gonna do for a half hour? It's a waste of your time and gas to go home and come back, so. So yeah, if you want to set them up for 5, that's fine.
Be happy to wait for any input. When you get here, you get here.
Yeah, that's fine.
The only thing I'd like to bring up, it said it in the email, having department heads here for all of these meetings. And I don't know what we meant by that, but hopefully it means we're going to do building department on the 6th, so they're going to be here on the 6th. We're going to do DPW on the 20th, so they're going to be here. Instead of everybody coming and sitting through every meeting when they don't need to be here. So just want to throw that out there and make sure we're all on
We
the
can
same
schedule
page.
it that way.
Yeah, I think it'd be easier for everybody than they're stuck here for all 4 meetings. They don't need to be.
You want to do 6, 13, 20th to 27, book them for right now, and change on the fly? We have to.
And 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock.
Okay.
Works for me.
Everybody good?
We also want to mention that the 13th, we're going to piggyback the building department advertising issue, or you want to?
How about we
wait on that?
Well, that's Steve Johnson gets his hand up. Let's see what he.
Well, I was just gonna say, I know I'm not usually here for the budget items, but if you're talking about piggybacking.
Right.
Them,
Yeah, which
one's best?
I can't, I'm out of town next Wednesday and I'm booked for this Wednesday, but the other 2 Wednesdays I'm booked.
So the 20th or the 27th?
For piggybacking that item, yes.
Why don't we do
So how much time do you want to do the budget?
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we make Steve's the 27th? Because then if we're done with, which I doubt, but if we're done with everything by the 20th, the 27th can be just your meeting. Or hopefully hopefully by the last day, we'll be pretty much done with budgeting and we'll have a little extra time.
Or if we're done ahead too, we can make it the 20th. If we need to change it on the fly, we'll designate him the 20th or the 27th as needed. Sound good?
Well, let's make it the 27th so he can book it.
But I mean,
and then if we get done sooner, we'll let you know.
Right, either one.
If he's got it available, he does. So, yeah, that's fine.
What time?
5.
Is 5 good for you, Steve, or like 5:36 better for you? Because we could start the budget and
We
then.
can put you in the end, you can be here at 9.
9?
I'll take 5.
All right. What department would we like to have first? What heads of department would you guys like to?
I'm just looking at the way the budget is. It starts with.
There we go, just do it that way. Whoever falls on
Yeah,
there,
I'll
where
just
we're
do
at.
it that way. I know the building department, assessing, all our offices.
If we need to do 2.
Yeah, and then we can do CAM the next week and then fire the following week.
But does anybody have any requests for time off for vacation during any of those weeks yet?
Not to my knowledge.
Does
We just gotta
anybody
make sure they're not
have
gonna be gone on
vacation
vacation.
scheduled
Make
any
sure
of those
that,
weeks?
yeah.
is
So
what I'm
whatever
saying.
week you put them on, just call, make sure they're not gonna be gone. And then we'll have to move
Yeah.
them around. It's a good point, summertime. Yeah.
We could probably do to CAM, DPW, and the fire at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'll check with both of them,
And
see
then,
which weekend.
Mr. White, I don't know if you need to meet with us regarding anything.
I met with both boards on EMS budget, I don't have any,
Okay.
if you'd like me here for any, let me know, and I'll
Okay.
do my best to be here, but.
Thank you. All right. So settled? Just need a motion for that.
Motion to set May 6th, 13th, 20th, and 27th for budget meetings.
Do you want the 6th too?
6th, 13th,
Okay.
20th, and 22nd. Yep.
So this Wednesday.
And we might
Oh,
be
yeah,
done.
that would be this Wednesday.
We might be done prior or whatever we need, as needed.
Support.
Motion by trustee Boyd, supported by trustee Churchy. Any other question or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Building carpet and tile cleaning request. I just want to, just a quick summary on this too. We've spent a lot of time on this, and
Yeah.
just so everybody knows, we've been putting this off a long time.
Right.
We did get a couple bids, but I'm trying to think, treasurer and partner, were you here for the cleaning of the tile, that test?
Chris was here too, we saw the tile.
I've only seen one thing that has worked. I don't know, you know, it's almost going back to South Brain. In this instance, this is the only one I've ever seen work where they actually cleaned it. So I don't know.
Last fall, when I brought it to the board, I think pretty much decided on Cintas doing the
I was
carpet
gonna say, didn't we
cleaning.
approve it? We were just asking them to do it?
No.
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 Okay. I thought
It
we
wasn't
had-
approved. It was for me to look into whether they would honor the price in the spring.
Oh, that's right, yes.
And yes, they do honor the price. Well, when I went to tentatively schedule it for May, I told the cleaning person last Friday that she won't have to vacuum because they're going to clean the carpeting at the end of the month on a Friday. And well, she went back and told her boss, and they called and said, well, why can't we bid it? We've done it before. Well, they've never cleaned our carpeting, but they've cleaned the tile, but the stain never came out.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, there's a stain, a large stain that crosses the whole hallway before the reception desk, and it's been there since the beginning. It's never been able to be cleaned. We did, Cintas came in for another.
He does a demo on the carpet cleaning, and because we were told this kind of tile carpet, you can't clean because it lifts up the glue or something like that. But they had no problems. It didn't do anything to the carpet but clean it, and it didn't lift them or nothing. Then they gave us a demo on the tile on the stain, and it all came out.
They go, we can clean it, we'll prove it. So they brought in all their equipment, and right in front of us, they went to work, and they got it out.
Yeah.
So they proved it. They put in a day's worth of work to do it at no, there was no pay for that, no charge, and they got it done. So that's the only one I feel confident spending our money with, because no one else ever got it cleaned. But it's a pretty big process. They worked pretty hard on it.
So I just quickly just wrote up a little thing, gave you the prices, and whether you want cleaning and protection on the tile and the carpet. You want to do just the carpet, you want to just do the tile, you want to do both. It's completely up to the private
Okay, on the carpeted areas, you're talking about doing the actual interior offices as well?
You know, they have offices on there.
I mean, because it says all carpeted areas.
Right.
To me, that's everything.
It said offices, if you look at their quote, offices. So I think she just took like an average room, measured it, and then times it by how many there were. But she did not count the secured storage, because I didn't know if there was carpeting in there or not.
This carpet has never been done, correct?
I don't want to be responsible for that one.
This has never been done, right?
No.
But it would be a spot cleaning if you went into the offices and around the desks and
Right.
that kind of stuff.
Right. So it's completely up to you guys if you want to pull that piece out. I mean, we really need this room. This is the major room that need in the hallway. I'd say if you wanted to limit it, with them seniors having lunch in here every Wednesday now.
I need my office done from day one. There's something in that carpet.
There is an odor in.
Yep. Right in the doorway, something was spilled, and it's never left.
So we're looking at $5,710.36 from Cintas for carpet and tile. That's the two numbers together, correct?
No,
if you. I'm sorry.
If you look on the last page, though, it said public restrooms are not included in this quote.
That is from a.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, yeah, sorry.
Cintas is back.
Cintas, okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, the Cintas number, like you said, you did the
two
clean and
together.
protect, both clean and protects for all carpeted areas, all tile areas.
Yes.
So 5,700.
Yes.
I'm not opposed to it, but I don't know that I can make a motion to spend much money.
Do you like the anything?
I make a
No, it's
motion
just we haven't done it.
that we approve the carpet and tile proposal from Cintas for the cleaning and protection at a total of $5,710.36.
Support.
Motion by Clerk Keith, supported by Trustee Churchy. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nationwide representative.
I gave you all a memo explaining what was going on with our representative, and without going into details on that, another rep from the same company has been spoke to, and he can take over the group, and we can go on as we have done. I gave you a printout, and I know nobody had time. She just sent me this. This is actually Jeff White's representative for Nationwide, and she can do everything that the other group was doing, and probably at a less cost, because she's not a commissioned insurance salesman. She actually works for Nationwide. And so what I really need is I need approval to go with one company or the other so that we have representation again. Either stay with the Dickinson Group with a new rep, or switch over to Nationwide Direct, utilizing, her name is Candace.
Which do you recommend? Which would you like to do?
You know what, after speaking with Candace today, she said she could do everything. She could even do the old group that we originally had Ballack for the deferred comp, and then we switched to Nationwide, and so there's still funding at Ballack. Nothing new is going in there, but we really don't have a rep for them, but she can take care of that. So if anybody wants to get a withdrawal or from the Ballack or move money over to Nationwide, she can help us with that.
Okay, so this is who, with what company?
It's Nationwide Direct.
Candace with Nationwide Direct.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to allow Clerk Keith to switch over to Nationwide Direct, utilizing the same person that EMS uses, Candace, don't know her last name.
Support.
Motion by Trustee Boyd, supported by Treasurer Attenbacher. Any other questions or discussions? I just have a comment. I have no problem doing this right now, but I'm really upset with Mr. Spratt for the mess he got us in with the initial changeover, with percentages being over at Ballack still in this. I don't know about you guys, but it's very hard to keep up on where's what, and it's been a pain, especially him not contacting us. I'm very upset with him. I do think we should interview for this too. I don't have a problem, but I'd like to meet with this gal, see what her credentials are in the future, and just put it out once. And maybe we end up staying with her, but see what else somebody can do for us also at one of our meetings. So I'd met a couple individuals that do this. I'd like to hear from them, and actually like to meet her too. But I have no problem doing this now.
Well, it's kind of like something, so we're not out there high and dry.
Absolutely, and I agree. And she might, be the perfect match for us, but I just don't know. I've never met her, never talked to her. I'm going just based on right now a quick change, and like I said, I have felt like there's really been nobody managing our money because of the way it's been split up, and I haven't seen anything done proactive, basically.
The Dickinson Group never was managing the money. When you signed up, you put it into what you wanted to go in, and it just stays there unless and you can change your own at any time online. You can see everything that's going on with it.
And that's what I mean too, but I think we were lacking interaction with that. Speaking for myself, I'm kind of familiar with that stuff, and I have interaction with the people I deal with and stuff, and didn't have a lot. I don't know if everybody else has been satisfied. I mean, Karen, in speaking with you, you didn't seem like you're that satisfied. So I'm not in favor of letting that path continue or letting us go down that path without checking some other things out. But like I said, I don't have any problem right now going with this person, so.
I like the idea that she is directly with Nationwide.
Right.
Because you know that somebody isn't out there managing our money that doesn't even work for the company.
The money, and that's what, you know, through this whole thing, and I made it perfectly clear, the money has always been with Nationwide. It has never been with a rep. The money is not sent to a rep. It's sent directly to Nationwide into your account, into everybody's accounts. So,
What I'm getting at is, and I understand what you're saying, but a lot of times you have people that are involved that it might be their first week on the job. They might not have a lot of experience, and that experience definitely pays off in dealing with this stuff. I mean, it's your money.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's how you want to grow it, so.
And it's confusing, so.
It's very confusing, exactly right, and they count on that. They make their money off of that, so. I have no, like I said, I have no problem now, but would like to maybe put this on agenda for future to interview a few people and have her come speak with us also during that process.
Do we have a motion out there yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, just wait for a roll.
Yeah. So, and like I said, we just add that to an agenda item down the road here. But any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Website upgrade demonstration discussion.
Our website is obsolete, and so over the last month, Karen Keltz and I have been doing a bunch of different research and demonstrations. We have had demonstrations with 2 different companies that do websites, and all of the bells and whistles that go along with it. We've done the scanning of the documents, the older documents. We have done organization, online stuff where you can put actual documents out there, like the contracts and all that, and it's secure. It's secure that the public isn't being able to go into those, but any of us could, or whoever has authorization. What I need tonight is the one company is going to be back in the area the week of May 11th, and they would like to do a demonstration for the full board, and I would love you guys to see the bells and whistles that this thing has. And the other company has agreed to do the same as well. So I would like to give each of these 2 companies an hour to come in and demonstrate the website solution that they have, and so that everybody can ask questions. I put down, there's oodles of things. I know I've forgotten stuff that they showed us, and I put down the stuff I could remember. And so I just need a date that week.
This is just for our website only?
Yes. Well, that's the funny thing. Some of the stuff I thought I needed this, and I needed this, and I needed this, and I found out that no, a lot of these website companies do it all.
Yep.
So I want to start with this, and then if some of the other stuff is still lacking, then I'll go out to that. I do have quotes for the other stuff as well, but it's like we might not ever need to do that.
Did you ever give her that information too, and that one guy we had that was recommended?
No.
Did you ever get to see that one also? Because he's somebody you might want to take a look at also.
For
I have to look at what the name was, but it was from
that's for the server, and I'm already 3/4 of the way through that.
No, this wasn't just for the server.
That
This
you
was
just
for
gave me
the-
this week?
No, this should have been from the,
No, it was a hard packet, a folder. It was a folder.
it was a hard packet folder, she said.
I
That was in my box on Monday. Like I said, I'm through.
No, this should have been prior to that.
No.
I'll get with you on it, but I have no problem with that. This was a gentleman that does other municipalities in Macomb County that came highly recommended by some of the supervisors. So we wanted to make sure we got that information. I want to make sure she gets it, basically.
It was in my box on Monday.
Yeah, last week.
Okay.
Or last Thursday.
I don't remember when.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
You said the
This
week
is
of
on
the
websites
11th?
only. Huh?
Week of the 11th? They're in town?
Week of the 11th. That's what you've got on it.
Well, is Monday good for you guys?
No, I said the week of the 11th.
The week of the 11th.
No, Monday won't work for me, but the rest of the week, Tuesday,
The
Wednesday, Thursday.
13th, we already have the budget thing.
12th and 14th, I'm good with either one.
Okay. Karen?
Count me out. 1 to 10 on the 12th, 12 to 9 on 14th. So there's no like before or after.
Okay.
So yeah, you guys just set it up, whatever works for you guys.
Okay. All right, with that said, is 4 o'clock better? Or 4:30?
That's fine with me.
Earlier the better. Whichever.
Okay, so I will get with both companies for the 14th of May at 4:30.
And what time again was that established?
4:30. 4:30.
Okay. Want to make a motion for that, or?
I make a motion that we schedule the website upgrade demonstration for May 14th at 4:30.
Support.
Motion by Clerk Keith, supported by Treasurer Attenbacher. Any other question or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 31 Mile Road. Mr. Safe.
Just to go over history, I believe all the board members and related departments have my emails, updated emails. Jody asked me last month to look into the paving option of 31 Mile from Forest, I believe, to the border. And it's about half a mile, I believe, including the intersection. And we put some numbers together, and then I had a chance to talk to Bob Hoffner from the Road Commission last week, and he updated me with the numbers. And so the final estimate is $875,000. Lenox portion would be 525, and Road Commission would be 350. This includes the engineering cost, he's saying. That includes all the survey, the design, putting the specs together. And I believe their in-house engineers do all that.
And this started per resident coming and bringing condition of the road to our attention.
Correct.
And this is nothing that we initiated, just for the record.
Correct.
Yeah, I just asked the question because the resident, and the resident's right. Right now, the road looks really good because they just did some, major patching and all that, so it looks pretty good. But we know at least half of the year, that section of the road is horrid. And it gets the most traffic. So when we talked about it last month, then I just asked Sermet, okay, give me your best guesstimate, what kind of thing we're talking about.
Yep.
Now, this is something like was said earlier, I don't know that we can tell the county that we want to do this do something like this year if we're not shovel ready. We have not held any public hearings. We don't know how the residents of that section feel about it. Yes, Mr. Schroeder said, oh, I'd love to have the road paved, but are you willing to special assessment that? And is the rest of the residents on the road in favor of that as well? I don't know if we're just putting the cart before the horse.
The normal
For this
procedure,
year.
the normal procedure would be the township petitioning the road commission for the pavement, and the normal split is 60-40. 60 is Lenox Township, 40 is the road commission. The 60% of Lenox Township is normally covered by a special assessment district, which is an SAD that establishing that road frontage, which normally you get signature from residents that for 51% sign off and saying, yes, we will commit to this cost.
51% majority rule?
Yes.
And paid by percentage of frontage?
Yes.
Okay.
Not by how big
right.
the parcel, it's by the frontage. Now, other municipalities have done, in the past, they contribute to the cost. You don't have to. Normally it's requested by the residents, and they will pay for that portion with the road commission covering the other 40%. You could do however the township want to proceed with this. You can split it with the residents, you can just leave it the way it is and hope that an SAD would pass. They do have to go out and collect signatures, and then once you get majority, it's locked.
Who would solicit those signatures?
The residents themselves.
So like that gentleman that was here, we would ask him if he wants this done, for him to solicit signatures?
Normally. The township can help, we can help.
Now, how's the county gonna feel if we say, yes, go ahead and budget that money, and then 6 months from now, we say, you know what, never mind? Are they gonna just say okay and walk away?
The township, the county did not sound like this is a commitment right now. All Bob said is he's finalizing his budgets for next year, and he would like, if we want to hold or allocate some budget for this road, he wants just a letter from the township saying we are looking into this. Maybe you can allocate some budget for Lenox. And he did some preliminary numbers, so he knows what to set aside. Now, legally, that's not binding. It's just an interest.
I have a problem with them allocating that money if we don't know.
I just think we have too much work to do. It's not shovel ready.
We're talking $500,000.
Right. I think that definitely we need to contact the resident that came in.
Sure. The only thing you have to be aware of, they only have 30 days before they finalize their budget. For the next township meeting, we would miss that window.
Do you know how many residents we're talking about, possibly?
They were...
Yeah, it was in the email. The amount was in the email too, for each home.
20? Girls said 15.
18 parcels, 15 existing homes.
So 15 residents, so he needs 8.
Basically.
So he'd go to 8 houses. I think he could accomplish that in 2 days, right? If he wanted to. Go ahead, Mr. John.
Yeah, and that may be the case, but I do believe for road SADs, they measure it on frontage in terms of calculating whether you reach the 50%. But
is that what it is, of total distance?
I'm pretty sure it is under Act 188, which I think is the one that this would be under. But again, we're kind of rushing into this a little bit. We need to clarify that. But you're probably talking 8, 9. I mean,
right, very close to that number.
Size, lengths.
I think that sounds more logical because
Where
that
are
way
you going
it
with this
keeps a homeowner that has
You gotta
only
take care of forest
100
then,
feet of frontage.
You're gonna have to pay forest?
It would be up to the residents.
Right, but I mean, you're gonna dump all these people onto that 4 corners there. Somebody's gonna have to pave into Richmond, that's where everybody's gonna go.
It would be up to the residents.
Which way are you gonna go? Are you gonna go Gleason or are you gonna go Forest? when you
No,
get to
we're
the
only
line.
going to Forest.
Alright?
We're only going to the intersection of
But I
31
mean,
Forest.
they know it's gonna use.
Yeah, we're not, I mean, we're not going anywhere right now. What
No,
we're,
but
what we're
it's
doing is
safe.
a resident approached us and wanted that area paved, so this is the opportunity for him to find out if the residents on that street would like to pay for that
Right.
and have it done. Then they would bring that to us and
You're opening up a can of worms there because the people on Gleason around Forest are gonna be PO'd, they'll be in here.
they would have the same, they would have the same opportunity.
Yeah.
They would have the same opportunity to look at this, and it's a request, basically.
Yeah.
This gentleman came and requested it, so we have to give him the information
Sure.
to that request.
But I'm just saying, you're not ending your problem.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, believe it, it's not us, we still have our maintenance program in place and plan on doing that. It's not us opening a can of worms, we're just addressing his request on what he would have to do. And I guess the next step would be to inform him of that, or if the board has any other, or the attorney has any other direction.
Well, I think there's a lot of homework to be done, both from a legal standpoint and talking with the county and whatnot and the resident. If there are going to be petitions circulated, we can certainly help prepare
The language?
petitions so that the resident isn't guessing on how to put it together. And on there, you identify the distance, and if they want to expand it in the future or separate or do a future one for future areas, they can certainly do that.
Okay, so your legal opinion would be that we should not go to the county this year because we're not ready? That's a question.
Well, I don't know, whether you should or shouldn't. It's just a matter of timing.
Well, at this time, we are not ready right now.
No, there's not. I don't think we have enough information at this.
No, this is
point.
the first discussion on it, so.
And then we're looking at a 1 month for a $500,000 project. To me, that's crazy.
I don't think we need legal guidance on this. I think us as a board,
I'd like
we're
to,
all.
I'd like to wait until next year this time. That's my opinion.
Well, or get this gentleman going on it right now. Go ahead and let him know what needs to be done.
Yes.
But just let him know it's not gonna happen this year. This is gonna be a
Right.
next year, following year project.
But if I can add, the petitioning process isn't the end of the process. There's a series of public hearings that the board would have to hold, so it wouldn't be a matter you'd want to hold off until next year. It would be a matter he'd want to go through the process of getting those petitions now and starting the process, so, okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I guess to cut this short, we could have him meet with Mr. Safe, have Mr. Safe give him the information, and you could supply the document if he wants it.
I'd be happy to supply a petition, and the other part of that is we have to have some decent estimate of cost. It sounds like we have that. I don't know how solid they are at this point, but then you divide it up, and if it's in the county, their portion is not SAD. They pay that out of their budget.
Correct.
So it's just the 530, 525 would be part of this.
Correct.
So you're talking if there's 15, roughly 35,000 per.
Now, this estimate is for next year. Now, if we start the process for the following year.
It's gonna be the year after that.
That could be the year after that, and could be an inflation of about 5–10%. Who knows? So we need to allow some of that buffer.
My suggestion is just to have, we don't make any letters up, we don't have any legal action on it, just have CERMED call the gentleman and say, we did some preliminary checking, this is the cost on paving that section, this would be the next step, you have to get so many signatures, kind of explain the process, let him know that we did check into it, but it's not something, that's gonna happen overnight.
And then it's up to him.
And that there's a lot more to go to it, and like you said, we're gonna open a can of worms because you're gonna put more traffic on that road then. It would be great for all the residents because there's a lot of people that cut down 31. But that's gonna increase it even more. So, like I said, my suggestion right now is just for CERMED to maybe call them and say, we checked into it, this is approximately what needs to be done, this is what it could cost. And then if we ever hear from them again, we can worry about it then, but I can't see paving that section.
Because this is, you know, that resident is gonna go to his neighbors, and then we're gonna get an idea. If they're not interested in it, then it's dead in the water. But if so many of them, let's say 7 of them come and say, I'm interested, and yeah, I'm willing to help.
It's our
pay
job
for
to
that.
assist them.
Then we start the petition drive, you know, we give them the tools.
Yeah, it's not us determining whether it's paved or not, it'll be the residents who live on that street, and our job to assist them if they do want it.
And we already have, basically. Sir, we had Sermet check into it, and the attorney, and
So now you're
that's what
okay
we
with
need
getting
to
hold of
do.
the gentleman and?
Okay. That's why it was put on the agenda, because I need that feedback right now.
Yeah, we don't need you to spend an hour of
Absolutely.
your time meeting with them and
Absolutely.
costing us more that way, so.
I'll make a motion to allow Shemet to contact the resident, I don't know his name, but the resident on 31 Mile, give him the information and see if he wants us to move forward with it.
And I'll report back to the board.
Support.
Motion by trustee Boyd, supported by clerk Keith. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Public comment. Any public comment at this time? No public comment.
Motion to adjourn?
Support.
Motion by trustee Boyd, supported by treasurer Attenbacher. Any last discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?